Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. The bulls take a breather after a two-day sprint. The Sensex and the Nifty end with modest losses after a volatile session. The rupee holds largely steady against the dollar as the impact of a global dollar rally is offset by banks selling the greenback. A fresh tariff threat from U.S. President-elect Donald Trump roils stock markets worldwide. Trump pledges to impose an additional 10% tariff on China and a 25% tariff on close allies Canada and Mexico. Blames all three nations for not doing enough to stem the flows of drugs and migrants into the U.S. Israeli airstrikes in Gaza and Syria kill over a dozen people, even as hopes rise that Israel may call a temporary truce with Hezbollah. Israel's cabinet is likely to discuss a 60-day ceasefire deal, but the deal sees opposition from some far-right ministers in the Netanyahu government. Stocks of Adani Group companies fall after fresh downgrades to its shares and bonds from rating agencies Fitch and Moody's. Sources say Adani Wilmar is looking to delay a stake sale, adding that it may seek SEBI for more time to meet the 25% public float norms. The government may soon allow 100% FDI in the insurance sector. Sources say a composite license mechanism may also get the green light, adding that the government hopes to amend the laws in the ongoing winter session of Parliament. Sources say the government has approved a proposal to waive the bank guarantees that telecom companies were required to furnish for spectrum acquired before 2022. The move will be a huge relief for Vodafone Idea and a significant boost for Airtel. Food aggregator Zomato launches an 8,500 crore rupee qualified institutional placement at a floor price of nearly 266 rupees a share. The exercise will change Zomato's shareholding pattern to give it more domestic investors. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde tenders his resignation to the governor, will remain caretaker chief minister until a new leader is sworn in. The Mahayuti stakes claim to form the new government, but there's still no clarity on the next chief minister. Parliament marks the 75th anniversary of the adoption of the Indian Constitution. The President and the Vice President address MPs from all parties in the Central Hall, call on political parties to put the nation first. At least 5 security personnel have been killed in Pakistan and dozens injured in clashes with supporters of jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan. The army has been deployed on the streets with orders to shoot at sight, even as Khan supporters attempt to march towards Islamabad demanding his release. Well, we have a lot coming up for you, but a quick snapshot of the day's market action. The bulls took a breather today after a two-day sprint, and early gains on the large street were erased in what turned out to be a volatile session. The Sensex and the Nifty ending with modest losses, though, with the Nifty dropping below 24,000 today, so just flat at close. That was the story for both the Sensex and the Nifty. The mid-cap index closing just about in green, and the bank stocks lost ground today as well. So a flat close, but coming off of its intraday lows and its intraday highs as well. The Indian rupee, meanwhile, managed to hold steady against the dollar. The rupee remains above the 84 mark. India's 10-year bond also held steady in trade today. That was the money and the bond market snapshot for you. Shares of Adani Group companies back under pressure after recovering some lost ground in the last couple of trading sessions. Downgrades from rating agencies Moody's and Fitch over the bribery allegations in the U.S. have led to the decline today. According to a Bloomberg report, promoters of Adani Wilmar are looking to delay a stake sale to meet the 25% public float norms. Currently, the promoters hold more than 75% stake in Adani Wilmar and have time till February of next year, that's Feb 2025, to pare their stake. Let's see if the regulator gives them additional time. The big story that is moving the markets worldwide. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has threatened to impose 25% tariffs on close allies Mexico and Canada on day one of his presidency. Making the announcement via Truth Social, Trump blamed both nations for failing to stem the flow of drugs and migrants into the U.S. In a separate post, Trump also pledged to impose an additional 10% tariff on China for not acting against the flow of illicit drugs. Trump's proposals are a culmination of his trade rhetoric during the election campaign trail. Now, several economists have warned the tariffs could stoke inflation and disrupt global trade. Let's take a look.
U.S. President-elect Donald Trump on Monday pledged a 25% tariff on all products from Mexico and Canada from his first day in office. Trump said on social media the tariffs would remain in place until the two countries clamp down on drugs, particularly fentanyl, and migrants crossing the border illegally. The threatened new tariff would appear to violate the terms of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement on Trade, which took effect in 2020 after Trump signed it into law. That deal continued the largely duty-free trade between the three countries. The president-elect also accused China of not taking strong enough action to stop the flow of illicit drugs crossing the border into the U.S. from Mexico. He said his government would impose an additional 10% tariff on goods from the country as a result. Trump has previously pledged to end China's most favored nation trading status and slap tariffs on Chinese imports in excess of 60%, much higher than those imposed during his first term. In response, the Chinese embassy in Washington said, quote, "No one will win a trade war or a tariff war." Mexico described the current trade deal as a, quote, "framework for certainty for investors," and there was no immediate comment from Canada. Economists say that Trump's overall tariff plans would push U.S. import duty rates back up to 1930s-era levels, stoke inflation, collapse U.S.-China trade, draw retaliation, and drastically reorder supply chains. They say tariffs are paid by the companies that import the products subject to the duties, and they either pass on the cost to consumers or accept lower profits. Trump frequently refers to countries paying as a consequence of his tariff plan, saying on Monday that Mexico and Canada will, quote, "pay a very big price." In 2023, the U.S. accounted for 75% or more of the two countries' exports.
Trump fired his first salvo at China. Apple CEO Tim Cook stressed on the tech giant's commitment to the Asian country. Speaking at an event in Beijing, Cook said that Apple could not do what it does without its Chinese partners. Cook was on a visit to China to attend an expo and met with top officials in the country.
This is my third trip this year, and it's so wonderful to be there to see the intersection of technology and agriculture. And it feels wonderful to be a part of it. China, we're very committed to China. That's the reason I've been here 3 times. I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm so proud that Apple has an exhibit here with our partners. Oh, I value them very highly. We could not do what we do without them.
Tim Cook in China. The other big global story, Israeli forces continue to attack southern Lebanon, killing at least 31 people in the last 24 hours. The Israeli military launched fresh airstrikes hitting residential and commercial buildings in Beirut, as well as the port city of Tyre. Israel's defense officials reiterated their stance of targeting Hezbollah strongholds in the region. This comes amidst reports of an Israeli cabinet meeting today to decide on a 60-day truce with the Hezbollah. Far-right ministers who are part of the cabinet have already opposed any ceasefire deal. Meanwhile, parts of northern Gaza have also come under heavy attacks from Israel. Overnight, at least 11 people have been injured in a series of attacks by Israeli aircraft in the region. Israeli forces have also bombed Syria, allegedly killing 2 civilians in an attack on multiple bridges near the Lebanese border. The Israeli military said it was targeting Hezbollah's weapons smuggling routes. The global call for ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah has gained momentum. European Union's top diplomat Joseph Borrell has said there is no excuse for not implementing a ceasefire deal.
It is tragic that we could not get this war to an end. But this must happen. And let's use this tragedy that we have seen in Lebanon and Gaza in order to avoid more sufferance for the people in the region. We must pressure the Israeli government and maintain the pressure in Hezbollah to accept the U.S. proposal for a ceasefire. This was agreed.
Oil prices rose marginally after a sharp decline, which was triggered by the prospect of geopolitical tensions in West Asia easing amidst talks of a ceasefire. However, the uncertainty surrounding broader regional stability continues to lend underlying support to energy prices. Escalating conflicts in Russia, Ukraine also pushed prices higher. Well, back home, the union government is likely to allow 100% FDI in the insurance sector. Sources say the government may amend the insurance laws in the current winter session of Parliament. Sapna joins us now with the details. Sapna, FDI perhaps to 100%, a big boost for the insurance sector.
Well, it is likely the government, may like to bring some amendments to the insurance bill, and that would be in relationship to the raising of the FDI cap from the current 74% to the 100%. Now, these are proposals that have been discussed in the past as well, and it may just be feasible that the ongoing winter session of the Parliament may see some action on this front. Having said that, the sense that we are being given is that probably global investors would be interested in coming in with a full 100% ownership, maybe even singly. So keeping that in mind, I think there would be a bit of messaging on the part of the government also in terms of giving a boost to the entire insurance sector. Second aspect, of course, could be possible that the Insurance Amendment Bill may also incorporate proposal of composite licensing for the insurance companies. Now, there has been a lot of discussion on this in the past as well. 2 odd years, the regulator also has played a very important role on this front. So that might also see some light of the day. Last but not the least, insurance agents or intermediaries, where the FDI cap already has been raised, but they are unable to sell multiple policies or multiple companies, probably that relaxation will also come in. Of course, we need to wait and watch and see what other delegated legislation could follow once the amendments have been cleared by the cabinet and the bill has been brought to the parliament. But this is what the position is as of now.
Sapna, many thanks. And speaking at the CNBC-TV18 Global Leadership Summit just a few days ago, the IRDA chairman, Debashish Panda, had said that this is an opportune time to increase FDI in the insurance sector to 100%. Take a look.
This has become the opportune time for having 100% FDI. So what will help potentially to the 100% is that it will play out in the sense now the players will come with 100% FDI. They can plan their business independently. They can decide on their growth plan. They can decide what kind of business they want to write.
Well, that's the IRDAI chief. And staying with insurance, what are the amendments to the Insurance Act that have been proposed and how will they impact industry? Yash is standing by to explain. Yash.
Well, Shireen, the Insurance Amendment Bill possibly would be one of the boldest moves in the recent history that has come about as far as the insurance sector is concerned. What it does is that it brings 5 important changes to the dynamics of how the insurers in the country operate today. The first one is with respect to composite insurance license. What composite insurance license does is that it allows cross-entry of insurance companies into each other's segments. What that means is life insurance companies, if an approval comes for composite insurance license, can sell health insurance policies, or they can also enter into other segments of general insurance industry, case in point, motor insurance. This plays on the other side as well. Health insurance companies and general insurance companies, are permitted then to sell life insurance, underwrite and sell life insurance policies as well. What this does is that it increases the competitive intensity with more players coming into each other's segment in India's insurance space. The second one is multiple distribution of various other financial products. Right now, of course, it's insurance intermediaries can only sell insurance products, but if the approval to insurance bill comes through, then they will be allowed to sell other financial products as well, like mutual funds, bank deposits, loans, credit cards, so on and so forth. What it does is that it opens new revenue streams for insurance companies itself. The third one is a reduction of the minimum capital required to start insurance business. Currently, any entity wanting to start insurance business in India has to bring a minimum capital of 100 crore for insurance and 200 crore for reinsurance. That is proposed to be reduced, and it won't be a fixed number. Essentially, the number of minimum capital will depend on the size of the business that the insurance company plans to bring as far as Indian jurisdiction is concerned. The fourth one is captive insurance license. Now, this is a very interesting concept because if an approval for this comes through, then major conglomerates or business houses will be allowed to start their own insurance entity with their services or the insurance policies being limited to their own employees, making the space very, very interesting. The fifth and the final one is relaxation of investment regulations. Currently, insurance companies can only invest up to 15% into equity markets, about 60-65% in the government debt and balance on the private debt. But with this thing, the power will come in the hands of the regulator, that is IRDAI, in terms of giving approvals to insurance companies and increasing their equity investments or investments in any other segment. It's not just the industry which is waiting for the insurance amendment bill. The regulator has also been keenly watching this one and is awaiting a final approval on this one. This is what IRDAI chairperson told CNBC-TV18 in a very recent interaction which we had at the Global Leadership Summit.
I would expect the moment it comes, it is welcome. The earlier, the better. So that is something will be known to all of us as and when it happens.
Well, lots happening in the insurance space. Moving on, food aggregator Zomato has launched an 8,500 crore rupee qualified institutional placement at a floor price of nearly 266 rupees a share. The indicative price has been set at 252 rupees a share, which represents a 10% discount to the stock's closing price today. A total of 3.8% equity or 33.65 crore shares are on offer. The exercise will change Zomato's shareholding pattern to give it more domestic investors. Remember, this is something that Zepto is attempting to do as well with its latest fundraise of $350 million from domestic investors. Now, the Delhi High Court has granted a stay order on a debarment notice issued by Solar Energy Corporation against Reliance Power. The SECI had issued a show-cause notice to Reliance Power and its subsidiary for allegedly issuing fake bank guarantees and had barred the company from participating in government tenders for 3 years. Automaker Hyundai India received a show-cause notice from the Maharashtra Tax Authority over allegations that it claimed excess input tax credit between FY20 and FY21. The tax notice worth 5 crore rupees also includes interest worth 2 crore rupees. The company said the notice will not have any impact on its operations in India. Well, big relief for telecom players. Sources say the Union Cabinet has approved the proposal to waive bank guarantees. We also learned that the waiver will apply for spectrum acquired before 2022. Shares of Vodafone Idea surging on the back of this development. Ashmit joins us now with the details. Ashmit, good news certainly coming in for the likes of Vodafone Idea.
Well, big relief coming in for all telecom players. Cabinet approving the decision to grant a waiver for all bank guarantee requirements. A big relief coming in for all telecom players, for Vodafone Idea to be specific. So what is this relief that has been granted? What does it translate into? Well, bear in mind that in 2021, the government had made a decision that for all subsequent auctions, there would be no requirement by telecom companies to furnish a bank guarantee. So whether that's 2022 spectrum auctions, 2024 spectrum auctions, no bank guarantees were required. Now, subsequently, a demand fell from the industry that if the government was open to the idea of waiving off of bank guarantees, why not waive it entirely, even for pre-2022 spectrum auctions? And that is something that, in fact, found traction with the DoT. The DoT had prepared a cabinet note, sent it, placed it before the cabinet, and late last evening, we understand, the cabinet has granted its approval for waiving off of bank guarantee requirements even for pre-2022 spectrum. Now, this comes as a huge relief, especially for players like Vodafone Idea that were looking at bank guarantees north of 25,000 crore rupees, looking at liquidity issues. They're able to get relief on that. But just to clarify, this is not a company-specific measure. This relief that has been granted is across the sector for all players. Jio as well as Bharti Airtel also likely to benefit, but not as much as, of course, Vodafone Idea.
Ashwat, many thanks. We will head into a break, but up next, the suspense over the next Maharashtra Chief Minister continues. Eknath Shinde to continue as the caretaker Chief Minister till a new leader is sworn in. SR Group co-founder Shashikant Ruya passed away at 81. Ruya co-founded the group in 1969 and grew it into a global conglomerate. He had been suffering from prolonged illness and passed away in Mumbai. The Reserve Bank Governor Shaktikanta Das was admitted to Apollo Hospitals in Chennai this morning. In a statement, the Reserve Bank has clarified that Governor Das was doing fine and has now been discharged. The statement added that there was no cause for concern. Evom India Housing Finance has warned its creditors that payments could be delayed. In a letter to creditors that was accessed by CNBC-TV18, the company said that this was due to an ongoing audit following the discovery of fraudulent transactions. Ritu is here with more details. Ritu, take us through what's been uncovered.
Well, Shireen, Evom India Housing Finance has informed its creditors of an ongoing National Housing Bank audit which follows fraudulent transactions that have come to light from a recent inspection, and that could lead to a delay in repayment to its lenders. Now, we've accessed this letter that Evom sent to its creditors where it reveals that NHB's inspection found signs of financial irregularities. Specifically, some mutual fund account statements seems to have been tampered with, and the company admitted that this could lead to a restatement of its financial data for the past 3 financial years. Now, the company has already filed a criminal complaint with the Economic Offences Wing as on the 19th of November, and its board has also initiated an internal investigation with independent advisors. Now, Evom's short-term liquidity is also under pressure, with about 35 crores in what it calls sticky receivables and delayed capital raising efforts, which has stalled discussions with any potential investors. But the company is exploring options like equity infusion, debt realignment, and structured finance solutions to navigate this particular issue. Now, keep in mind, Evom has assets under management of about 1750 crores as of FY24, which isn't too large from a systemic point of view. Domestic lenders include the likes of HDFC Bank, SBI, LIC Housing, and so on. And the total exposure to these domestic lenders is of only about 130 crores. But with the fraud coming to light, the larger concerns really are around whether this is going to lead to a further risk aversion from banks when it comes to lending to NBFCs. And the company also has outstanding NCDs of about 200 crores. And that impact on retail investors down the line also remains to be seen.
All right, Ritu, many thanks for joining us. The big national story: it's been more than 72 hours since the BJP Shiv Sena NCP alliance registered a landslide victory in the Maharashtra Assembly elections. However, the suspense over the next chief minister continues. Today, Chief Minister Eknath Shinde submitted his resignation to the governor. As per protocol, the term of the current Maharashtra Assembly ends today. Shinde will function as the caretaker CM till the next leader is sworn in. Sources tell us Eknath Shinde's Shiv Sena is unwilling to cede the CM's post to the BJP, despite the latter winning more than twice the number of seats. The BJP seat tally and a nearly 90% strike rate is its best ever performance in Maharashtra. Both camps are holding their cards close to their chest, insisting that a decision be taken unitedly.
तीन पार्टी की सरकार है, महायुति की सरकार है, 14 करोड़ जनता के लिए सरकार आने वाली है। भाई जब महायुति की सरकार बनती है तो उसको थोड़ा टाइम लगता है। एक पार्टी की सरकार थोड़ी है कि आज क्या बना लेंगे। भाई थोड़ा समय जा रहा है, लेकिन जनता के हित में, महाराष्ट्र के हित में है। महाराष्ट्र को आगे लेके जाने के लिए है। हमारा केंद्रीय नेतृत्व और महाराष्ट्र के तीनों नेता बैठेंगे और मुझे लगता है योग्य निर्णय होगा। ऐसा निर्णय होगा कि महाराष्ट्र की जनता के लिए, विकास के लिए डबल इंजन सरकार जो चलेगी वो देश के हित, महाराष्ट्र के हित में काम करेगी।
सीएम साहब ने जो रिजाइन दिया है वो सीएम पद का तो है और पूरा मंत्रिमंडल का है। इसके बाद हमारे जो तीन लीडर है, एकनाथ शिंदे साहब है, देवेंद्र जी है, अजीत दादा है, वो पीएम साहब के साथ और अमित शाह साहब के साथ बात करके उनके मार्गदर्शन के नीचे हम सरकार बनाएंगे। हमारी महायुति कॉन्क्रीट है, मजबूत है, उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है।
Well, who will be Maharashtra's next chief minister? That question remains unanswered for now. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. The news will continue right here on CNBC-TV18. Do stay tuned. We're back in a moment with more.